Top 3 things you can do if you haven't heard back from your Walmart truck driving application. So I'm going to go through 3 different things or actions that you can do if you've applied, you haven't heard anything back. It still shows that the position is available, but you're just wondering why haven't they said something. And so let me share those with you. But before I share that with you, what I want to share with you real quick is I'm out here trying to help drivers get into a good career, discover Walmart, find out the truth about what it can be like to work here. And there are other YouTubers that I've came across. They're doing the same thing. Some have done an okay job. Some do an excellent job. And so I wanted to mention or do a shout out on a driver that I think he's been here about 6 months, and he's doing a pretty good job, and I wanted to do a shout out for him. Country Sloth, and I forget which DC he's out of. I think he's out in the east there somewhere, or maybe the south, I don't know. And I've been watching his channel. He's got a good perspective on somebody that's pretty new. I think he said he's been here 6 months. And he talks about, his experiences so far. His latest video, he talked about the pros and cons, and I thought he did a really good job to kind of outline what's good, what's bad, and how the good outweighs the bad. And seems like a really reasonable guy, so go check him out. I'll put down in the comment section, I'll put a link to his channel there, and go show him some love, give him a like, give him a subscribe, and you can get a perspective on a newer driver that's doing a pretty good job here as far as I can tell. So you put your application at Walmart to drive, and maybe they give you a confirmation email saying, well, we got your application. We'll let you know. Keep an eye on your email. But you don't hear anything. Like nothing. A week goes by, 2 weeks, sometimes even a month or two. And you're thinking, well, I just want closure on this. It's either yes or no. I mean, are you still considering me? Have you already hired for the position? What's the deal? From what I hear, they do send out confirmation emails saying, hey, we're no longer need to fill this position, or, you don't qualify for such and such reason or whatever. I don't know the exact wording, but I think sometimes maybe that doesn't get through. I'm only guessing, because I hear people say, I haven't heard anything back, So the top 3 things, let's just go with what I think is the top thing you can do to find out. And that's to give them a call. I would at least give it a week or two, at least, before you go checking on it. I mean, I get it. The old days, you want to show your eagerness to work, and you'd be calling them the same day, you turned your application in. Nowadays it's a little bit more different. I don't know if that really impresses anybody, but, I'd probably do it. Who knows? But, there's been times where I've talked to people and they say, you know what, I'm going to fill the application out. And then like 3 days later, they're like, hey, I got an interview coming up on such and such date. And I'm like, wow, 3 days, 3 business days. They got back to you and you're already set up for an interview. That's crazy, Sorry about the noise. I'm in Medford. And the airport is like right out behind this place. Anyway, probably not the best place for a video. And so anyway, yeah, it could be done in like 3 days. But then I've talked to people and they say, it's been like a month. I've got nothing. And so, I mean, there's really no way of calling it which way it's going to go. Like I've said before, it probably depends on how many people applied. There's just probably a lot of factors. I'm not going to try to go through them all because I can't claim to know them all. But I know this, give them a call if it's been like a week or two or whatever. And some of the things that I would look at the number, the candidate support number is the only one I know of, which is on the website. When you scroll down to the bottom there, it'll tell you candidate support on the website, drive the number 4 walmart.com. I would call them and just tell them, hey, I haven't heard back. I want to know the status of my application. Status. Not just, are you going to hire me, but, you know, do I still qualify? I mean, are you still looking? When do I reapply or update my application? I would ask these types of questions. I've talked to a few people and they say that when they call, they're told, oh, everything's fine. You just have to sit tight and wait. And you're thinking, it's been like a month. How long do you want me to sit tight and wait? Well, then maybe it needs to be a month or two. Just don't know the circumstance on that. So number one is call. And so number two, I think would be, and I'm not recommending this, like telling everybody to go do this. I'm just telling you what I would do, what I think would be the top second thing I would do. I would call the DC that I'm actually applying for. Most likely, they're not going to be completely up on what is going on with your particular application, because I think most of that's handled by Bentonville or through recruiters. But the HR at the DC, they're very friendly, very helpful. I don't understand. Well, I do understand, but I mean, for us, I wouldn't understand why you would look at HR as, like the enemy or somebody that you're not going to get along with. I get along with them great. I think they're an awesome resource. And so if you call, I would just say, hey, I applied for it and I'm wondering are you guys still hiring? Are you still hiring? That's the first thing I would ask them. I'd ask them if they know anything about your application. And then, you might mention what it is you applied for, what you're looking for. I don't know, just have a conversation with them. So I think that would be number two. And so coming down to number three, and I'm going pretty fast with these. Number three, it's probably just sit tight and wait, with the thought that your mission is to find out, is my application still in good standing, whether they hired or not. I mean, I'm sure you're probably wanting to still get a job at Walmart. Just because they filled that position doesn't mean that maybe there's another DC somewhat close for you and you want to apply for that. Or, if they come up with another position, you want to be ready. And so I would try to find out if you still qualify, there's no problems with your application. And then, you're ready for the next time they're hiring. Have everything in order. I've heard multiple stories about where people, they thought they had all their ducks in a row. And then, they waited, they didn't say anything, they didn't do anything. And then they found out way down the road that, oh, well, we didn't have this thing of information. We sent an email out to you asking you and you didn't respond. So, I would definitely be checking my junk mail, checking your emails. I think they do a lot of communicating through the email. What do you got to lose? I mean, call the number and find out. But, other than these three things, I'm thinking, what else can you do? I mean, you could find a driver that's out of that DC if you see him down at the truck stop and ask them, hey, you guys looking, or anything about this? They're probably not going to, but you never know. I've learned a lot by talking to other drivers. I've gotten information that it's like, wow, I would have never thought they would have known any of that. Come to find out, they know the guy or gal that runs HR, and they know that they're desperate and they're actually hiring for like 5 different positions. And don't worry, they're still looking. Hey, it's a chance, it's not going to hurt. And besides, the more you communicate with people and communicate with Walmart, the better. Because I'll tell you, this job they're all about communicating. You'll do your best with communication. Having good communication with your dispatch, your HR, your ETD, that's a form of communication. It's actually your top form of communication. And it goes right hand in hand with what I'm talking about here with, well, what if I haven't heard back about my application? Talk to everybody you can. and just try to get all the information. So I hope that helps. And I got hired on, I've said this so many times before, way before they did any of this type of process. And so all my information is mostly based on just talking to all the new drivers, talking to HR, talking to people that didn't get in, and I've just collectively gathered everything I know. And this particular topic about what the top 3 things are on what you can do, it's very limited. There's a lot of just sit tight and wait. And I can tell you this much for sure. It's definitely worth it. And so hope that helps, and I will catch you guys next week.